Kelly, who has been working so hard to reach our entire state and to talk about why she's running and what she hopes to see as leadership for Secretary of State and why it is crucially important this election cycle. Kelly Grappe.
I just want to start by saying thank you. Wendy, I know what it takes to put on something like this, and so thank you. And this is my favorite kind of room. And I know we have some guys in here, so thank you all for being here. But I also know that women in these communities get stuff done. And I am so honored to get to be part of this now. I'm going to join your group because I'm inspired by women every day. And I see the work that happens, both out loud and behind the scenes, that lift people up, and especially other women. And so I'm going to be honored to represent you as a woman at the state capitol, and I can't wait to make that happen. So, I'm going to talk today because we have a little more time than I usually get, so I hope y'all will bear with me because I want to spend some time with you on our strategy. If you're following me on social media, if you're not, I want you to. Kelly Grappe, SOS on Facebook and Instagram. I'm also on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I just got a volunteer yesterday at the voter registration event that says he's going to help me with Blue Sky. But we are trying to show all this work because we are going everywhere and I need your help amplifying. So please follow me. But we are showing up in as many communities as we can. And I'm gonna give you my background first because I think it's important you know that because people are gonna ask you, tell me about Kelly and why she's qualified. So I'm gonna spend just a few minutes telling you my story, but I'm gonna spend most of the time today talking about our formula to win. And it is real, y'all. There is real hope. And I'm telling you, we've seen the numbers. And I believe we're gonna win this. I need y'all to believe that right alongside me because it's gonna take every one of us to get this done. So I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I moved to Arkansas in 1986. Steve and I went to high school together at Sylvan Hills in Sherwood. That's where we met, and we went to junior prom together. And then I went off and married someone else for a long time, and now here we are. I came and visited my best friend whenever I got a divorce, and he has turned into an amazing dad and partner in this work. So I went to work for Alltel and Verizon in 1994. Alltel and then Verizon came in 2009. And I worked there for 24 years. And I did a number of things in my career. And I was never afraid to do anything. I did everything from collections to training to marketing. Whatever, I'm a gap filler. Like whatever needed to be done, I'll go learn that job and I'll get it done. And in 2018, Verizon, I was the director of the customer service center in Little Rock. I had 800 people that worked for me. And if you had a problem with your phone, you probably called us. And Verizon decided to send all their employees home to work remote, which was great for all the employees, not so great for the director. I have a daughter that I had adopted through the foster care system, and she was going through a real tough time when she was in middle school and early high school. And so Steve and I prayed a lot about it, and we decided instead of taking another job, moving to Atlanta or New Jersey, that I was going to step off. And so I took a package and we bought a little piece of property in Rosebud, Arkansas, which is where we still live, White County, a town of 494 people, little bitty town.
Where is it?
It's in White County. It's kind of between Searcy and Greersbury. It's close to the lake, Heber Springs, Greersbury area. But it's this little teeny tiny town, and that is a red territory. I'm just going to tell y'all right now. We're not in friendly Democrat territory there, but we love it. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to us. We took a year off, and I learned how to make soap, and we got some chickens. Neither of us had ever farmed before. Steve was like, let's just get 5 pigs because we need bacon. And I want the pigs, I want to get the 5 pigs, and then I fell in love. We both fell in love with animals and with the land. And so we decided we were gonna try to make a living at that, and we did for 4 years. We partnered with Heifer USA, if you're familiar with them.
Amen.
They taught us how to do regenerative agriculture. We had the chicken tractors, and we raised our hogs, free range. And our mission, somebody said this earlier, our mission was to leave the land better than we found it. And I believe we did that. But a few years ago, right after COVID, my daughter learned to drive delivering meat. So literally, people would leave their coolers out on the porch, and we would drop meat in their coolers. And she and I traveled the roads while Steve was home, taking care of the hogs and the chickens. And we still have the land. So we've still got the land, we've still got 150 chickens and 15 goats, and it's forever most farms. If you ever want a little joy in your life, that's where I post my joyful things, like there's no politics there, it's just animals and plants and beautiful things. It's a bit neglected right now, but Forever Most Farms was our farm. It was a wonderful way to spend COVID, especially with a daughter that was going through a tough time, and I'm proud to say she is an adult now. We have 2 grandbabies, and she's doing great. It was the best decision that we ever made to move off to the country. And right after COVID, though, the prices went up on everything, and we were bringing in feed from Missouri to bring in non-GMO feed. And it was just too cost prohibitive to keep farming. And so we had to pause our operation. I had a lot of experience, and Steve had been working on the Chris Jones campaign, some of you guys might remember. And we decided, we made a very conscious decision at that moment after Chris lost, that I was gonna go back to work full time, and Steve was gonna begin organizing the state. And so that's what we've done. And so I work for a dental company out of Blue Rock. I'm the head of learning and development there. I made up my own job. I hired a girl in 2001 at Alltel, who is now my CEO. I called her when I decided to go back to work. She's the CEO of this company, and I said, hey, I need a reference because I'm gonna go back to work. I was planning to go work part-time somewhere. And she said, well, I have a vice president of marketing open. Would you like to come talk about it? And so she hired me to do marketing. And then a couple of years ago, we decided we were going to go into learning and development. I have a big background in that too. And I put together a business case, and I put together a new job, and I made myself up a job, and I went to her, and she let me do it. And so I'm the only one that does that now. I build all of our learning programs. I handle all of our company intranet. I do all corporate communications for 100 and something clinics across 6 states. It's a great job. I'm going to take a pay cut to go do that, to go do this next job. It's a great job. But as Steve was organizing the state, I got very involved in the petition process. I know you guys have done an excellent job in Benton County of running petitions. We're one of only 16 states in this country who have full access to change our laws all the way up to our Constitution. It is sacred. And I got hooked. Because Steve, when the LEARNS Act came out, he'd never done this before, but he learned about the referendum process, and he started the case referendum. And so my job was his support person and the support person for all the volunteers, because you know, the government, the Secretary of State and the AG's office did all kinds of things to prevent us from getting signatures, but we still got 55,000 signatures in 50 days. Despite what they threw in front of us. We were just under 1,000 signatures short. But what that showed, to turn over the LEARNS Act, that's what we were trying to do, is turn over the LEARNS Act. So we didn't get there. But what I learned from that is the power in the people. And that there were a whole lot of people out in Arkansas, all across the state, who weren't happy with the way things were going. And then I started studying about this direct democracy process, and y'all, it's incredible. And as Secretary of State, I'll have a key role in supporting the direct democracy process. So the Secretary of State is who you turn your petitions into. The Secretary of State is also the person who, you guys might remember, a couple of years ago, there were over 100,000 people who signed a petition for abortion. And the Secretary of State had a gotcha at the very last minute. Not okay. Not okay. More than 100,000 people across the state said that they wanted that to be on the ballot. And we have a Secretary of State who had a gotcha and didn't allow that to happen. That's not okay. I promise you, there will never be a gotcha when I'm in that office. I will hold the line on that, and I will make sure we follow the law, And I will work with the volunteers, I'll work with the ballot question committee,